Hello everyone. Welcome guys. So, haven't filmed a book talk in here. Well, I have. But we're by the... My coffee is very watery. This is so disappointing. Okay, anyways. Hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are talking about the book, The Women by Kristin Hannah. This is my third Kristin Hannah book, and I read The Great Alone in 2018, and then I read The Nightingale, I think it was 2020, and I forgot that her books do not end happily, really. They're like a gray happy, like kind of sad, kind of happy. So anyways guys, today we are talking about the book, The Women. I'm just gonna let you know I really am gonna focus a lot on the romance, so if that was like not your thing in it, because I've read a lot of reviews, people did not like it, this might not be a video, but please stay. Anyway, so let's just first talk about it. So it took me so long to get to read this book because it was placed in Vietnam, and that's not necessarily a time period I read about, really. It's like not really an interest of a time period. A lot of it is, so I like reading historical fiction, but I like reading historical fiction during certain time periods. But it had such good reviews, and when I bought an iPad, I'm able to read ebooks a lot easy using Libby, and so I was like, why not just read it? Like, I don't lose anything. It's not like I have to go out and buy the book or something. So I ended up reading, guys. I loved it. Like, it sucked me right in. I loved it, loved it, loved it. Just kind of like my overview of it. I don't know, did anybody else kind of feel like I didn't know where the direction of the book was gonna go? Like, okay, she was in Vietnam, that made sense, but I wasn't really sure, okay, like, where's this book gonna end? And then when she gets home, I don't know, turns out, kind of like reading hindsight, like the ending is part of her dealing with her PTSD, a lot of the stuff that like kind of come to terms with stuff that's happened, and then moving on. But as a reader, I wasn't sure where we were going with that, and personally, I felt like the second part dragged out a little too long. Like, I felt like we could cut a little bit of that out. It just dragged on a lot. Let's talk about a little bit about the romances, because I don't mind romance in this. I saw a lot of people say they did not like the romance aspect. I personally like romance. I'm not really big into reading books if there's not a romance aspect. That's just me. I don't like romance being the central plot, but I like it sprinkled in there. So when I read this book, it has been so long since I stayed up till like 3 in the morning just wanting to finish a book. I was gonna go to bed around midnight, but I'll tell you why in a second. Anyway, so when she's in Vietnam, she meets a character, Jamie, and I liked Jamie. At first I was like, okay, I really liked him, but like then you found out he was married, but then you just like, you see how they weren't gonna cross that line. I knew Jamie didn't die. I knew it, because when like she wrote that thing on the stone, I'm like, there's gonna be something significant about that stone. So I didn't actually think Jamie died. I was expecting him to come back. I just didn't know when he was going to come back. And I'll be honest, as we read further into the book, I thought maybe he's not coming back. Maybe he did just die. Because then, after Jamie, we meet Rye. Okay, so here this is more reason why I wanted to film this video, is to talk about this. I was kind of frustrated with this. So you meet Rye and you're like, okay, whatever, like, sure, he likes her, and then, you know, they start getting the romance here, like, you know, like, he cares about her, and I think, okay, and then when he gets shot down, I felt the gut punch, but I was like, no, he's not dead. See, if you know me, anytime a character dies and we don't see a body, like, I'm in denial, like, it's Schrodinger's cat. I do not believe they're actually dead until I see the body. Even though there are some books I've read where we see the body and I'm like, nope, they're not dead. It's denial. But anyways, so when it says he got shot, I'm like, I don't believe that's like it. And then when they start talking about the prisoner of war, I was like, that's it. He's gonna come back as a prisoner of war. What I was not expecting was the fact he was gonna be married. I thought the plot was going where, okay, she's pregnant with some other man's baby, but she doesn't love him, and now Rye's back, and now she's gotta try to convince him that no, he's really loved her life. Like, that's where I really thought the story was going, and then it didn't. So I read that part of him coming back and reuniting with his wife and his daughter apparently at like 12, and I was like, I ain't sleeping now. I gotta know how this happens. Like, I gotta see how they end up together. And so then you read, you know, the love affair starts again. And he's talking about how, you know, he's gonna divorce his wife. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's true. Like, maybe, you know, this was something you jumped into. And then, like, you know, the wartime experience kind of changed you. Because here's the thing. Rye was introduced as her brother's best friend. So I really thought we were going for that trope. And that, I think, how his character arc ended, just, it didn't sit right with me. Like, I'm normally not, like, the denial denial type, but that did not sit right with me because I think it was because there was like initiated attraction before she went off to war. Like she thought, oh, I think he's attractive, and how he told her women can be heroes too. Like I really thought this was like the arc we were going with, and then find out he really had no intention of really leaving his wife, even though I don't know, part of me wonders, like, I mean, this is the denial talking, but like, did he really love her? Even though no, okay, did he love her? Probably not. It was probably lust. Let's be honest with ourselves. But then I was like, well, maybe he just feels he should divorce his wife. But I'm like, oh, but he had another kid with her, so I don't know. But then just seeing it end basically like that, like, I don't know. I just, that romance did not sit right with me. I thought the author did just not do it justice. Like I said, like, did I like his character in the end? No, you found out he was kind of a jerk. But there was no evidence for me to assume otherwise. Even though when he did say, like, when they were in Hawaii, and he did say, like, oh, I'm no longer engaged, I was like, he could be lying. Now, I didn't think the marriage, I thought, like, okay, like, he just didn't break off the engagement. I thought he could be lying. But then, you know, you start reading the book more and you're like, oh, okay. But here's my theory about why the author had it be like this. If you're new to my channel, you know I give all these theories out that probably make zero sense, that probably aren't even like related to the book, but this is who I am. I told you this isn't like gonna be a review. This is more let's just like verbal vomit out. That sounds disgusting, but that's what my book talks are. So I have a feeling he was never supposed to be her love interest, even though, like I said, it bothers me that the author kind of put in like the brother's best friend trope, like how he knew her before war. Like that's the part I think that just really did not sit well with me in the end, knowing who he really is. But I kind of wonder if it wasn't so much of a trauma bond between her and Ryan. Not necessarily between Ryan and her, but her and Ryan. Like how she saw Ryan. Like during the war, when things were intense and crazy, Ryan was like that safety point. That was like the comforting point. And so I think she kind of in her mind thought, okay, when he gets back, I'll be happy. When he gets back, everything will be okay. When he gets back, we'll figure this out. And like, you know, like he was kind of like what she saw her happiness to be. Like she put her happiness on him and her healing on him in a way. So then when he dies, let's say, and she just completely loses it, it's because she lost that false sense of security she had in him, that happiness she thought she had in him. Like I said, I think she put her healing journey and how she felt on a person, if that makes sense. Like, oh, if I just had him, I'd be happy. Or if he was here, he's happier. So when he dies, like she doesn't have that anchor anymore. And then when he come back and, you know, they're having the affair, it's like, okay, like I think I'm gonna find happiness. I'm gonna find happiness out, because she's placing it on him. And then when you find out, no, he's a cheater, really, on both sides, she loses that again. So she almost had to lose him indefinitely in order to realize and find that she's the one that needs to heal and find happiness, and no other person is gonna be that for her. I did not like the Henry thing. I don't know. I didn't like it. Even as I was like, what? Why am I reading this? I did like it when Jamie came back though. So after the whole Rye thing ended, like for the last time, I was like, maybe Jamie does come back. Because I can't imagine like there's like all these love interests and it's like none of them work out. So I was so happy when we did see Jamie come back. As a reader, I would have liked to see him earlier on in the book come back, but like how he kind of talked about how he like struggled with a lot of stuff. Like I think they both had to heal in order to become the best versions of themselves, so then they could be the best versions for each other and really be there for each other and not do what I think she was doing with Rye and basically link how I feel with you, like if that makes sense. I do wish there was more though an epilogue to kind of see like how that took off, because like I said, by the time we got to that point, I was like, Jamie who? Like, I'm sorry, I just went through a whirlwind here. I hardly even remember you. But it was such a good book. Like I felt so many feelings reading this book. Like I'm not gonna lie, there was a part where I was like, I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning just to find out how this character arc ended. But it was good. Like I said, I thought the second part did just drag out a little too much, and after a while I'm like, I wish it was a little shorter, because like I knew she probably would have had to go through that healing journey, but I didn't know where the author was taking this. The brother, let's kind of talk about her brother for a second. I did not think he was dead, actually, to be honest, because he died so early on in the book. I thought he was gonna come back as like a prisoner of war, actually. Granted, if she had all 3 men come back, it really would not have been believable, but just the way the brother just like died so quickly movie, at the beginning, I didn't think he was actually dead. I actually kind of thought like maybe like him and Rye would come back as prisoner of wars. I don't know. Honestly, that was the story I wanted to see. I don't know. Like her brother and Rye come back and just watch all that go down. I don't know. Maybe I'm just insane. Maybe I'm just sounding crazy right now. I probably am. Yeah, I didn't think he was actually dead. I was like, oh, he really did die. Oh. So, yeah, like I said, I kind of forgot with Kristin Hannah's books, they don't really end on a happy note. They end on, like, the happy middle. What should we say? Like, I actually loved the friendship aspect, how her friends were always there for her and they were there for each other. It was just really good. I liked the book. I actually really did like the book, and I think I'm going to kind of look at a few like resale stores for books and see if maybe I can find my own copy discounted price, because I don't necessarily want to go and buy a new book because I'll never reread it, but I wouldn't mind adding it to my collection. Again, I love this book. It was a book that kind of just stayed with me forever. Like, have you ever read those books where they kind of just haunt you for a few days afterwards? That was this book for me. It just kind of haunted me. I felt a lot of feelings in this book. Yeah, I'm still not okay with the Rye thing. I think if he was like a guy she just met in Vietnam and then he turned out to be like that, you'd be like, okay. But the fact was, it was like her brother's best friend. He told her all this stuff, like women could be heroes too. Like, I really thought we were going in this direction. And it was like, nope. I wonder, was the author always intending for his character to be like that? I was angry. I was so angry when I got to that ending. What? What do you mean? It was like it's at 3 in the morning. Is it okay to call people at this time and tell them? Anyways, guys, that was a very, very, very quick review. I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't really know about. I kind of knew, but I didn't really know. And so it was actually just, it was a really interesting story. I actually liked the book a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. And it was really good. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.